So we're live. My name is Carlos Tech. This is Max Dollander. You'll see him on the left-hand side. If you're looking at the video, Josh is in the middle. He's our main squeeze for today. And he's at a crew chief over at one of the big race teams. We'll let him talk about himself and where he works. Thanks, Josh, for coming on and talking to us on this podcast. So
yeah.
If you want to introduce yourself, and then Max will introduce himself.
All right. My name is Josh Eggert. I'm the crew chief for Lovell Racing.
All right, I'm Max Dollinger. I own an automotive shop called Moab Off-Road in Louisville, Kentucky.
All right. So we got Josh on here because we want to talk to him about a couple things, how he got into the industry and stuff. So we want to talk to him, his education, what it took to get onto to this race team. So Josh, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the education you got and how you got into Lovell Racing as being a crew chief there.
All right. Well, I was interested in working on cars and more specifically race cars. So I went to University of Northwestern Ohio and pursued a degree in automotive high performance. And while I was there, I fell in love with off-road. So I started going to some Trek races at Badlands Off-Road Park. And from there, I started looking for a team to get on when I graduated. So I got in touch with Lovell Racing, and I was volunteering for them while I was still in school. And did that for 2 years. And once I graduated, I was offered a full-time position with the team.
Okay.
So that's what got me to where I am today.
That's good. So a little bit about how I met you, Josh, was you were at one of the Trek races there. Of course, you had a nice big Ranger, long travel kit and everything. And I came in with little Jeep Cherokee, 4 cylinders, trying my best to stay in the front. So that's how I kind of met you. And, you had a bad day that day, but, I think most of us had a bad day.
Yeah.
I think all of us broke something or did something. So that's kind of how I met you. And we've kind of kept in touch and stuff. And then, how did you get into that school, or what made you go into that school? The University of Northern Ohio.
I was living in Michigan, so where I grew up was Detroit area. And the closest school that offered a high performance degree was the University of Northwestern Ohio. So that's how I ended up going there and learned everything possible about race cars. So just kind of got me prepared for a career in it.
Yeah. What I was wondering is some of the race cars that you worked on, as far as from the education standpoint, can you elaborate on that as far as what your training in school was on? I mean, was it drag racing? Was it road racing? Was it suspension setup for road cores? Building performance engines, et cetera. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was all of the above. We had classes on high-performance suspension that covered everything from dirt and pavement circle track, drag racing, road course, off-road. It just covered all of it. Then we had classes on building motors. I had a class that was on tuning motors that was pretty much 6 weeks of running a motor on the dyno, tuning it for maximum power. So that was one of my favorites there, just running the dynos all the time. It's just a little bit of everything from anything high performance.
Okay.
Now, did that include some chassis building and fabricating and stuff like that as well, or more just from an engine building side?
Right. I did have a fabrication class while I was there. Degree, but I'm learning a lot more, and mainly what I do is fabricate. So the class was a good intro, and I'm just learning more as I'm going.
Okay.
Right on.
So as you're learning more as fabrication, you kind of mentioned that. So what are you doing now as part of the race team at Lovell Racing? What are you doing? What's kind of your main job there?
Currently I'm building a Pro 2. So we're getting it ready for this season, which should be racing in 3 weeks now. It's coming up really close. And just kind of getting all the finishing touches done on that truck.
Okay. So for those people who are not familiar with the off-road industry or don't know what a Pro 2 is, can you explain that to us?
Yeah, Pro 2 is a short course truck, 900 horsepower, two-wheel drive. It's got 18 inches of travel, and it's just made to go around a short course track as fast as possible.
Another thing I wanted to talk to you about was the King of the Hammers experience. What was that like as a crew chief? That whole week, I think I saw you like for 5 minutes, maybe. I was there for 5 minutes and you were gone. You were like, no, I gotta go. Then I saw you somewhere on the UTV. You were like pre-running and you're like, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, man. I gotta go. I got a bunch of work to do. Try to stop by and stuff. And, I understand and stuff. That was, that's fun for me, just kind of going in there, just kind of checking up on stuff. But tell me how your experience went and what did you do during that week as a crew chief and all this other stuff?
Well, I was definitely busy, like you mentioned. Had a very busy week this time. So when we get there, first thing to do is set up, which unfortunately we were a day behind on that because the pits were flooded, so we had to wait for them to dry out. So while they were drying out, we went out and did some pre-running, ran the course all day long, and that's got to be my favorite part of it. So did all that, getting all the recon, figuring out the course, came back, did a little bit of suspension tuning with the truck, making sure that was ready for race day, and just going out, running the truck through its paces and making sure it's going to hold up, fixing anything that we found as an issue, and just getting ready for race day. And this year we raced 2 races back-to-back. So we raced the Everyman Challenge on Thursday and then King of the Hammers on Friday. So like you said, it was definitely a busy week for us.
Yeah. So right now as you're talking, I'm showing some video of, your setup for the King of the Hammers race, or I guess the 4400 class. Take us through the differences between the Thursday race, the Everyman Challenge, and the Friday race. What kind of setups, not getting into specifics, but basically what did you guys have to do, for each race?
Yeah, the Everyman Challenge we run in the Legends class, which it's tailored to the older Ultra 4 vehicles, the original ones that started all of this. So that means no bypass shocks, 37-inch DOT tires, and so we had to get all of our setup for that race. So all we really had to do was change shocks, put on some 37-inch BF Goodrich tires, and really we were good to go for that. So we had already run the setup before. We knew what the shocks would do without having the bypasses there. So it's just swapping parts out. And then for the King of Hammers race, we put the bypasses back on. We step up to 39-inch KR2s, which are a race-specific tire. And then we're good for the big race. So not a whole lot of switching parts.
Okay. So what kind of things are you guys working at the shop now? I think you mentioned you had a Pro 2 Ranger in there, the KOH rig, obviously, that you got in there.
Yeah, well, we've got the Ranger, which is our KOH rig, which is actually on its way out to Moab, Utah right now. And it's going out for the Easter Jeep Safari and the Dirt Riot race that's out there. So we'll be racing that this week. And then getting the Pro 2 ready for Dallas, which is in about 3 weeks or so. And also we are building a classic Bronco for the Nora Mexican 1000, which is also in towards the end of April. So I've got a lot of projects going on at the shop right now.
So you're pretty busy. So are you by yourself doing all this, or are there volunteers still going in there, or what's kind of the setup there?
Well, we've got a lot of volunteers at the races. As far as back at the shop, it's the owner, Brad, and I working on the Pro 2. Then his brother, Roger, is working on the Bronco along with their cousin, Mark. And then we've got some part-time help kind of coming in and out just to fill in the gaps and really, help push projects through.
Okay.
So for the most part, yeah.
So you got your hands busy. You're working day and night pretty much trying to get all these projects going on. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, Max, do you have any questions or?
Yeah, so just kind of curious, for myself and probably the viewers, give us a look into the world of a race team as far as how does the race team financing you as an employee, the parts, things of that nature, is this all sponsorship driven finances?
Yeah, it's definitely sponsorship driven. So the sponsors,
who are some of your main sponsors right now? I know Amsoil is a big one. Who are some of the other big sponsors for the team?
I've got BF Goodrich, it's a big one. Magnaflow, Spider Tracks. I've got Fox Shocks. So those are kind of our big sponsors there. And then we've got, our associate sponsors that help us out with products and stuff like that.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So I want to thank you, Josh, for coming in. Thanks for taking the time out of your day just to come talk to us. Two lonely guys. I think that's what we're going to call the show, Two Lonely Guys. So thanks for coming out and talking to us and letting us know about the world of off-road. Maybe we could have you down the road, maybe midway season or something, and let us know how your season's going, and then maybe we'll make that happen later on. So
yeah, sounds
appreciate
good.
meeting you, Josh.
All right,
yeah,
Josh.
nice to meet you as well. Thanks for having me.